So as I said earlier, we have completed the step 1, 2 and 3, and at the last step we have turned on the flame and the water is still boiling. Run the boilerplate code to see the output. We have also done that. The code is working and we can see the output, the hello world. Here there was a boilerplate code. I have deleted that. I have given a simple h1 hello world, which is running successfully in this one. So we are going to start the project now. The step 4, we are going to drop the Maggie into the boiler plate, to the boiling water. Okay. Now we are going to drop the Maggie into the boiling water. So make it into pieces and then drop it into the boiling water. In our coding bhasha, we are going to create the project components of the project, set up the routing and start coding the HTML part in each component. As I said earlier, the project is divided into different modules, and then each module consists of different components, the respective service for that module and the respective routing for that module. So we are going to discuss that in depth while dealing with this project. So hold on with me and let's get started. So now I am going to create the components of the project, set up the routing and start coding for the HTML part of each component. Within this video I am going to cover the entire step 4. So get on with me and let's get started. So open the VS Code and then hit the control, just type Ctrl+C inside the terminal, and then this server will be turned off. And now just give ng g space c space and then the component name. So just think about it. What do we do? What are the components and what are the pages that we will create in this project? So basically we are going to create 3 pages in this project that are nothing but the components. So that are add a component, view a component and then edit a component. So in the add employee component, we are going to add the employee using that screen, and then in the view employee component we are going to view the employees within the project, and then we are going to create another component named edit employee component, in which we are going to edit a particular employee within the project. So let's get started. So in the terminal, as you can see, I'm going to type ng space g, which is generate component of C, and let's just give the name as add emp. So I'm clicking the enter button. So this will create a component for me, and as you can see the component is generated, which is having a HTML and a CSS, a spec.ts and a TS. This HTML is used to give structure, this CSS is used to give styling, this spec.ts is used to perform unit testing, and the TS is used to give the logic to the whole component. So now let's go, just hop on with me, and we are going to create another component named ng space c space, that is edit emp. This is edit employee. So we are going to create another component. So as you can see, a new component is created in this one. So when we click on this thing, same it is having HTML, CSS, spec.ts, TS. अब से मैं नहीं बोलूँगा ऐसा, because these are already created for each and every component. So keep that in your mind. And also one thing, when you want to know the component name, just go to this particular just go to the particular TS file, and then here you can see the component name of this edit employee component. So using this name only, we can call this particular component or a screen within the project anywhere. So by default, as this is a small project, I am using by default जो है इसमें, that is app module. I am using this by default wala app module, in which I am going to create different components and then start working in this project. So I am going to create another one, that is ng-gc, that is generating a new component named view emp, in which I am going to view the different employees that are working in this employee management system. So see, this is another component. So we have successfully created the components, and now we are going to link these components. Okay, so साथ में साथ we are going to ng serve --o, which means it will run the project parallelly with us while we code in it. ये live server वाला है जो हमें help करेगा while we are doing some changes in the screen. So as you can see, the hello world which is present in the app component.html. So we are going to do one thing. Just go to the app routing module.ts, and in here we are going to define the different paths that we want to give. So just logically think करो. पहले हम लोग उनको view दिखाएंगे. We are going to show them the view employees page so that the admin can understand the different people who are working in this employee management system. So in this thing, let me just show you. So this is an empty array, routes of array. So we are going to create different objects in it, and then initially we are going to give a path which is an empty path, and then give it and assign a component to it named. So there you go, we are going to give emp, just a minute, I think we are losing something. Yeah, and then this one, view employee component. Okay, which means by default whenever we open this project, according to these routes in the app module.ts, because we are working only on one module, that is the app module by default, when we open this project, by default this view component should be working for that. So for that I am going to the main app component HTML, then I am going to remove this boilerplate code, and then as of now, still now we are showing the hello world, but we have given the logic that whenever we open the project we need to go to the view employee component. So the view employee component is this thing, and this component is having the text name view employee works. Okay, so I'm going to close this thing, and then I'm going to remove this boilerplate code which is showing the hello world. Okay, and then instead of that I'm going to give router outlet. Okay, so we are going to save it, and let's just check it. See, now it is working clearly. See, view employee works. Now let me just go to the VS Code. Now how did we did that? So this router outlet by default will check the routes in the app routing module.ts, and then the first file, and then not only the first file, the path which is having an empty path will be opened in this app component.html. So according to this logic, the routes which is having the empty path is the view employee component, because we need to show that to the admin whenever he opens the project or the website. Okay, so by default here you can see the view employee component. So before that I'm going to tell you what is the main difference between the HTML, CSS, JS and Angular projects. So basically in HTML, CSS and JS and normal HTML, CSS and JS and Angular projects, the difference is there are different HTML files for each page, and for a big size project it will be very much difficult to handle those many pages while working with the project. But in Angular we can cut them or divide them into different components, and then the developer can also easily maintain the code. So we can also reuse the code whenever needed. Okay, so if you want to understand that, let me just do one thing. I'm going to comment this. Just click on Control / and then the whole thing will be comment. Okay, so when I open the browser, see there is nothing because I have commented it. So let me just give the quick styling. I'm going to create a section tag with the class name of view page. Okay, So inside this section I'm going to give another div named class emp head. Okay, so this is the view page. Normally the view page is this one, but we are going to create a template named section tag, which is having a class name of view page. Don't worry, this is nothing but we are going to build a template जिसके अंदर we are going to run the different components. Okay, you will understand in the upcoming videos. So here I am going to give a h1 tag along with a bold tag, that is employee management system. Okay, so by default this will run in this, just a minute. Yeah, you can see this thing is running, and the next one we are going to give is the router outlet. So not like this, we are going to give it as router outlet. Okay, so when you give in this, see the view employee works, it is giving us that. Okay, so in here, now by this is the template which is given to the project, and these are the screens with this help we can switch to different screens. Okay, so if you are still not understanding, just keep doing what I am doing over here and you will understand it slowly. So with the help of this, it will go to the app routing module.th and then check for the empty path. Because it is having an empty path, it is going to initially the project which is having an empty path will be considered as the first page inside the project. So this is having the empty path, right? So that is view employee component. We have created the view employee component which is having this thing. So as of now it is showing, let me just cancel this thing, and then as of now it is showing just a text saying view employee works. So that is over this thing. So now I'm going to do what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete it, and then we are going to going to structure that page. So for that thing I'm going to write code. That is, we are using a main tag because it is the main part of the page. Okay, so we are going to give it a class name as main tab, and then we are going to give a div tag with the class name as main head. So this thing is the main tag, and inside the main tag we are having another block named main head. So inside that I am going to give a h1, and this h1 is going to have a class name as main txt, that is the main text which is having view all employees. Okay, so in this the next button is just of class button, and then we are going to give it functionality. Now as of now we are going to give it a name, the button, as edit employee. Okay, so and we can see that there is a button and there is a text, and this is the template. Okay, and this is the head part. Now we are going to the main. As we are going to show the data to the admin in the form of a table, we are going to deal with the table class inside table tag inside the HTML. So inside a table tag we are going to give a head and the t body, as these are the important tags inside the table. So inside that we are going to give the first row. The first row will be consisting of t head, which is having the emp id, that each employee has an unique id, th of emp name, and then each person will have a name, and then the employee city, and then the th another th in which we are going to give actions. So in this thing we are giving the table some actions to perform using the tr inside the th. So that's the heading. Now let me just check it out in the browser. So now it is coming like this thing, as you can see, and inside the t body by default we are going to give a tr. Okay, and as of now यहीं पे छोड़ देंगे ये वाला, because the headings are okay. Now the data should be dynamic. This will be dynamically working with us. So we are going to leave this thing like this. Okay, and now we are going to do one thing. When we click on the add employee, we need to go to a new page or a new component. So for that we are going to give some clicking action button on this thing, that is add employee. So when we click on add employee, we need to go to a new page. For that we are going to give a new route over this here. So that is a new path which is having a path as add emp, and then the component which we are going to use is add employee wala component. So as of now I think you have understood that each component also plays as a screen because it consists of HTML. So we are going to create another component side by side and path, and then in here we are going to give edit emp /id, and then the component which is having the name as edit employee component. And yep, we have given the paths for the different routes having different components. And now let me just give the structure for the add employee also before doing that. So I'm going to remove this inbuilt boilerplate code, and then I'm going to give the add employee. I didn't do anything separately for this thing, so I'm going to just copy paste this main head. Okay, and then inside the add employee I'm going to give a main tag which is having the class name as main box. So this I'm going to paste that, and in this thing I'm going to add a new employee. So add new employee. Okay, and in this page we are going to the view employees upon clicking the new button. Okay, so let me just go to the view employee component.html, and then here in the ts file I'm going to create a small logic, that is upon clicking the button kya karna hai isko. So we are going to the view emp component.ts. So in here we are going to give the button action, that is going to create a function named go to add is a function. Okay, so upon clicking this button, so in here in Angular we will give the click button like this. Okay, and in here go to add wala button function. Okay, so if you are still having any doubt, just copy paste with the name in this thing, and then I think we are good to go. Yep. So upon clicking this button named add employee, this will go to this logic, and then console.log. This is for the debugging purpose. Just say go to add employee, page. Okay, and then in the next thing, for that thing we need to create a constructor. Okay, now this constructor will inject the service which we are going to use. So that is, we are going to use the route wala. So we are going to hit the enter button now. So here we are injecting a router. Okay, this router will create an instance named route. So we are going to use that instance now. So this dot route dot navigate to a page. Okay, and now we are giving it the name, the path name which I have given. Okay, now upon clicking the view, in the view component, upon clicking the add button, that is add employee button, we are going to this component which is having the path as add emp. So this one is going to play a crucial role as we are going to new pages. Okay, so this is the add employee करके एक path है. This one will help us to go to this add employee component. So we are giving that to the add employee button. So in the output, let me just check it. When I click on the add employee button, as you can see, this one is a template, so this one is fixed, and the add employee is coming successfully. So whenever I click on the view employees button, it should go back to the view employee wala component. So to do that, go to HTML. So for this thing, I'm going to give a click action as go to view. Okay, so in the TS file, I'm going to define that, because see, it is showing the error as there is no logic like that, no function like that. We are going to create the function go to view, then done. The error is also gone, but there is no logic returning that, so it will do nothing when we click on the button. So we need to navigate, right? So for that, I need to create a constructor. We need to inject the route wala service. So private of route, and then router. Okay, click on this thing. Now the router service is injected. Now go to console.log. For the debugging purpose, we are going to print go to, go to view page. Go to view page, and then the next thing is this dot route dot navigate me to a page which is having an ID of empty, not ID, the path, which is having an empty path. So by default, we have given the app routing module.ts, and empty path means go to view employee component. So when we click on that button, go to view will be activated now. So by default, when you go back, so by default, this is the page that will load, and yeah, view all employees. If you are confused, just Control C, come out of the terminal, go to ngserv --o. Before that, close the browser and then run it once again. So now, yeah, you can see this is the output. When I click on the add employee, so the add new employee wala page is here, and then when I click on the view employees, it is back to the view all employees. Okay, so here we are going to give a table view. Don't worry, it is as why it is looking like that karke. We didn't give any styling for that as of now. And yeah, in the view employee table, we are going to give as of now, we are going to give normally the data directly, so that we can see the structure of the table. And then td, let me just give my name Deepak. Before that, sorry, it is having an ID, right? So td of data1, so employee ID which is having ID1, and then td of just having name which is Deepak, employee name, and then td again of city. Let me just say Hyderabad, क्योंकि मैं हैदराबाद का हूँ यहाँ. And then the actions, that is another td which is having a button named delete, and also an anchor tag named update. So what I'm going to do is, so inside this a tag only, now this is a new thing by which we can go from one screen to other screen. So inside a tag, specifically inside a tag, we can use router link करके एक प्रॉपर्टी रहता है जिसके अंदर हम लोग यहाँ पे कैन गिव दी, इसको छोड़ते हैं. ओके, now I have given the components, I have written the components there. You can also see the, when I click on that button, it will go from one page to another page. See here, on clicking this, we are going to add employee, and this thing is will stay like that only because this is a part of the template, and then this is a view employee. So I have given it two actions within the table, so that is delete and update. So I didn't give any action to this table also, and you can see the table is also not much pretty as we expected. And this is the add table, this is the view employees करके एक button. So when I click on the add employee, we will go to next page. When I click on the view employees, we will come back to the previous page. So अभी तक तो हमने, we have created the components, we have set it up the routing, and we have started the coding for the HTML part of it also. Okay, so, and in the cooking mode also, we have dropped the Maggi into the boiling water. Now the Maggi is also getting boiled. So अभी this one, I think अभी यहाँ तक हम वीडियो रुक देंगे. Now in the next upcoming part, I am going to tell you the linking the SCSS with the HTML, simultaneously check the output, and then you are going to go on. So meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.